Hey everybody, it's Irene with BrainStormAcres. And as you can see, I am in the greenhouse. Sometimes when I go in the greenhouse, I spend quite a lot of time. I water things, I trim things. Last night I came in here and spent some time and I harvested. And we had a really good salad of lettuce. We got Nancy lettuce, we got sweet green oak leaf, and some red oak leaf. And it was awesome. But today I'm in here for a very practical reason, and that is that our weather is going to go crash. And to be honest, we really can't maintain temperatures in here well enough to be able to keep the tomatoes from freezing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the very old-fashioned trick of wrapping the tomatoes up in newsprint and stashing them in the house. I'm going to do this quickly, and I may also take some more cuttings, because my cuttings I'm protecting with a dome and a heat mat. So we'll see. So let's get to it. A bunch of my current suppliers ship me clean newsprint as packing, and that is awesome. So that's exactly what I'm going to use. I have a basket here, not because I'm trying to make believe I'm riding or anything, but because it just happened to be convenient. So I'm going to get started and we'll see what happens. Start down the other end. Excuse me, Jack, you put 2 years on the way. The reason I'm starting down here is because the big tomatoes are down here. So I'm actually going to rip some of these off. Oops. Except it doesn't rip straight. Okay. There. Now any of the tomatoes that are slightly orange, I'm going to take in. I already took off a bunch of them yesterday, and they'll go where I can watch them. It's kind of amazing here. This tomato is really determined to produce. This is big beef. Look at this. I am probably going to take some more cuttings off some of the big beets because they have a couple of okay looking shoots on here. And then in addition to that, Granadero does too. This is going to be interesting. Historically, we have not wrapped our fruit. We have pulled the plants and hung them upside down. That was the way we always did it. When we lived in Massachusetts, we would hang them in the garage. Makes a heck of a mess because you drop all the leaves and everything else. But they would ripen in there. We would have a continuation of our harvest season. Keep looking at this thinking there's another worm in here, and I haven't found any in well over a week. It still makes me nervous. Okay, so the bigger tomatoes down here, there's one or two little scraggly ones in there, but the bigger tomatoes are all gone now. Now we have little guys. Yeah, some of these are on trusses. If you're not familiar, this is what they call a truss of tomatoes. It's a grouping of some sort. Some trusses are shaped like grape clusters, others, depends on the variety. I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna do these. I just think I will lay them in here for now and deal with them in the house. I just want to get them out of here because I'm fairly confident that we're going to freeze in the next 2 days. And we simply cannot run enough propane to keep the fragile plants like these tomatoes from freezing. So we're going to harvest what we can. And I know that the cabbage and stuff like that will be fine. Batch down there. Seems like every time I look at these, they've managed to sprout more tomatoes, which is awesome. I mean, it's December, guys. We're rolling up on the shortest day of the year here, and we still have tomatoes in the greenhouse. Pretty amazing. I probably wouldn't have believed you if you told me that back in June and July when we were having too much heat. And it just seemed like everything that was going to happen this year was going to be more of a challenge than what we would have preferred. My mom used to cut tomatoes or pick tomatoes and stick them on the windowsill. And she had a sunny window. And she would set them there to ripen. But usually we didn't have a huge amount at the end of the summer. Because they just grew a few plants for tomato salads and stuff like that. They didn't do any kind of canning or freezing or things like that. We really got into tomatoes and canning them and stuff like that. Couldn't tell you how many years ago, but basically we figured out that Henry was allergic to green tomatoes, that I was sensitive to them too. So if we got some crappy old tomato sauce that had a bunch of green tomatoes in it, we would both wind up with some pretty serious indigestion. I honestly believe that that is one of the reasons a lot of people actually have indigestion from tomatoes. It's not the acid and all that other stuff. It's the fact that their body cannot tolerate the green tomatoes. They're constantly thrown in with the regular tomatoes for sauce. That's just my theory. I have no scientific proof, but I figure there are some varieties of tomato sauce that we almost never have trouble with. Usually the organic ones are particularly good, but I just think they're being more conscientious about not using a bunch of green tomatoes. And that what green tomatoes there are so overwhelmed by the quantity of red tomatoes that it's not a problem. Boy, there's more than here than I thought there were. All right. I will probably find more when I'm cutting off extra sprouts and things. Let's get the other scissors. Here's what my current little crew of well, listening to the wind. We have weather coming in, and yeah, just sort of paying attention. Anyway, this is what my current nursery looks like, and I need to see what I can add to this that would be helpful. I would love to have some more big beef and some more. These are granaderos. Look at these. They're like weeds. I need to take off any flowers because that's just wasting energy. But I'd like to have some more Amanda orange and big beef, but I don't know if I'm going to get any. But let's see what I can find. Let's see. Let's go with the big beef first. You know, if there was just another week, I honestly believe I'd be able to get a bunch more off because these have been sending out some new shoots, and we haven't had any super cold nights to do more damage. So it's kind of annoying. It's like, nothing I can do about it. But you just, it's kind of like, if I just had one more week. But there is no more one more week. So I'm looking to see if there's any shoots here. I mean, there's one here, it's tiny. This one down here is tiny. This one has potential. This is a big beef. Got a couple of yucky looking leaves on it. But there's also a couple of good ones. So that's a big beef. Put him in the nursery. Need to fill up the individual containers. Especially when I have short pieces like that, I have to make sure that the jars stay full of water so that the plants have easy access to water. Because that would not be good if they suddenly didn't. That would be so counterproductive. It would be ridiculous. Alright, so I got big beef in there. This is gorgeous right here. This is a Gardener's Delight. I'm pulling off flowers. So I don't want them putting any effort into flowers. That's a Gardener's Delight. And we'll see how many of them will... These little hairs on the stem, that's what grows into roots. That's why you can bury tomatoes deeper than you can bury most plants. Most plants, you know, if this is your soil line on the plant, they want you to be planted there. That's it. Don't sink them. But both tomatoes and peppers can be sunk deeper.